What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. This is the 1 month review of the Adidas Copa Icon. We are going to start straight off with the sole plate. Now, for those of you who don't know, the sole plate is actually from the Copa Pure line, originally from the Nemesis line. This is the torsion frame sole plate. I really like this, and it's going to get, for simplicity's sake, it's going to get the same rating that it did on the Copa Pure 2 and 2 Plus. This is a sole plate that I think performs really well on both AG surfaces like the one behind me, as well as FG surfaces. I've worn these on both, and it has performed super well. You've got very, very decent snapback. Adidas, just in general, I think right now is absolutely killing it with their sole plates because they really are doing a good job of creating something that has enough stability through the midfoot. You've got enough stability in the forefoot, and then all of the different studs, whether it's the F50, the Predator, or any of the Copa series lineup, you get studs that are going to be suitable for most grass types, whether synthetic or regular or real. So for me, this gets an 8 out of 10. The heel area on the Copa Icon is actually kind of confusing in a little bit of a way. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be really large. It's gonna be really puffy and stuff. But once you put your heel in them, the suede liner does a really nice job of gripping around your sock, and they've done a pretty good job with the shape. I think it comes up a really good amount up the Achilles, and overall it wraps my Achilles and my heel area really nicely, and I think it's gonna be pretty neutral for most people. I feel like most people, regardless of your heel shape, are gonna fit in these, and for that reason, it's also gonna get an 8 out of 10. The upper of the Copa Icon is probably why most people are gonna choose this, but that being said, it's not gonna get that high of a rating for me. I like that they went with an all leather upper. I think it's fantastic. I think it is super, super plush. It's probably one of the most quote unquote pillowy sensations that you're gonna get from a pair of football boots. It really does feel like you have the Michelin Man just on your feet, basically. Really plush forefoot, pretty nice and substantial midfoot. It makes you feel like you're wearing a pair of very durable boots, and that will obviously be reflected in the durability and build quality score. This boot feels super well constructed. It's quite thick, it's very heavily padded, and which is gonna knock it down for me because I prefer to play in something that's a little thinner. But I will say that for most people who are looking for this type of boot, this is gonna tick all the boxes because it is so plush, it's so padded. If you're talking about not getting injured by being stepped on, this is the boot you go for. This is probably, I would argue this is like the most protected you're gonna feel from a pair of football boots, especially if you get clipped or you get studded or you get stepped on. So for me, unfortunately though, the upper is gonna get a 6.5 out of 10, and that's just because it's way too thick for my liking for trainings or games. Lockdown for the Copa Icon is okay. I say they do a decent job with the 3 stripes here on the lateral and medial sides of being stitched into where the lacing loops are, and that gives it a little bit of an ability to have some lockdown, including the shape as well. So this area here and on the medial side are a little bit thinner than the forefoot. So from a sort of the ability to get good lockdown is actually pretty decent in these, despite them being an all leather upper, but it's not perfect. And I do find that I slip around a little bit or roll over the sole plate a little bit as I started to break in the boot. So for me, the lockdown is gonna get a 6.5 out of 10. For break-in time, as you might expect from an all-leather football boot, it is gonna be pretty good. The only thing, as I mentioned in the previous section, is this middle area here in the midfoot, which provides a little bit of squeezing for somebody like myself who has a really wide midfoot, and I've got a bone sticking out kind of right in this area. And so for most people, I think you're gonna be able to fit in these perfectly well from a break-in time perspective. I just found it a little bit cumbersome to break in for an all-leather football boot in that specific area. So I'm not gonna knock it down too many points, but I do think these are gonna be just fine to break in for most people. And for that reason, they're gonna get a 7 out of 10. Durability and build quality of the Copa Icon is actually really, really good. I feel like all of the materials in here, despite there being a lot of material and it being a very thick and robust football boot, every piece of this boot is very, very well constructed. I don't feel like there's any seams that are gonna kind of go. There's not any issues with fraying. There's no issues with splitting from the sole plate despite being used quite a bit on FG and AG surfaces. Oh, hello. The inside feels really good as well. Very, very padded. And as I said before, as far as a quality construction standpoint and having you slip into a pair of boots that you feel like you're not going to get injured in, like you're not going to get stepped on and it's going to hurt really bad, this is pretty much the top of my list as far as like super thick and padded football boots. And I think those people who are looking for the most thick and padded football boots are actually going to really enjoy these. And so from a durability and build quality perspective, I see absolutely nothing wrong with these. Although I will say they're not as, from a build quality perspective, they're not using the highest ingredients, so to speak, like let's say a Mizuno Morelia 2, for example. And so it's going to get 1 point knocked off and it's going to get a very good score of 8 out of 10. Shape and fit is also another category where the Copa Icon absolutely thrives. Part of that is because it is an all-leather upper. You're really gonna fit in these regardless of what foot shape you have. That being said, if you have super narrow pencil feet, I would probably not recommend these because they do have quite a wide and sort of bulbous toe box. That being said, if you want to try and fit in these, be my guest. They just don't have the widest and deepest lacing system. So for players who are looking for that super close feel, even if you do want something a little more padded, this probably isn't the right option for you. I might recommend something like a New Balance 442 or even a Nike Premier 3, which isn't nearly as good as this football boot in my opinion. But it is a little bit narrower kind of across the entirety of the upper, so you're gonna probably get a little bit of a better fit there for narrower feet types, but for most people, these are gonna be awesome. And so for the shape and fit of these, you're gonna get an 8 out of 10. All right, so competition for the Copa Icon. You have two other boots in the Adidas range, really, the Copa Mundial and then the Copa Pure lineup. So those kind of compete with these. I would say Morelia 2, the Adler boots, some of the Diadora Brazil kind of OG boots. You have the old school Umbro boots as well. So really kind of anything that has a full leather or majority full leather upper. Now on the really premium and thin side, you have Adler, which is like the complete opposite to this. So it's like the most premium quality materials, amazing build quality, and very thin upper, like super thin leather. It's amazing what they've done with that upper. And then on the other side of the spectrum of also really great build quality and robustness is these ones that have the thickest materials, not the most premium, but still very, very good for what you're paying for these. And so I would say these kind of stack up for me like above. I'm probably not gonna pick these over really anything else on the list, but everything I've mentioned. Oh, actually, I'm picking these over the Copa Pure and I'm picking them over the Copa Mundial. So these are my favorite leather Adidas boots at the minute, I think, just because they feel the most modern while giving you a really nice touch on the ball. So that for me is really great. But I would definitely pick Mizuno over this. I'm definitely picking any of the Asics boots over this, and I'm definitely picking Adler over this. I'm kind of undecided. I'd probably pick this over the Umbros, but I don't know if I'd pick these over the Diadora. I feel like the Diadora are a little bit more premium than this. Oh, and then you have like the Uno Zero boots, the Modelo 1.0, which I would say I'm probably picking this still over the Modelo just because it's got the modernness of the sole plate and it's a little more like ergonomic shaped. What else? I think that's it. So these kind of sit like maybe a halfway down or 2/3 of the way down that list. To be fair, most of the boots in that list are really, really good. This just is too kind of thick and plush for my liking. Performance for the Copa Icon is kind of hard to knock other than the fact that I just don't like something with this thick of an upper. As I said before, robust, amazing, great plush touch. It's one of the most like pillowy padded sensations you can find on a pair of football boots today. And the fact that they're still leather is awesome. So thank you, Adidas. This is definitely an option I think that goes under the radar because Copa Mundial is the classic football boot that's got, you know, all the kind of old timers attention and some of the younger generation as well because it's kind of cool, and they've now made some fresh new colorways with the Generations pack. And then you have the Copa Pure, which of course a lot of famous players like Bernardo Silva are wearing and other players like that. And so Copa Pure gets a lot of attention because it's on the feet of a lot of the pros. This flies under the radar a lot, but this I think is kind of the perfect combination if you're not really into the Copa Pure because of whatever reason. For me, it's the heel area. If you're not into the Copa Mundial because of how old time it either looks or feels on feet, which is totally fair, this kind of gives you best of both worlds. And that's where I think this in the lineup of kind of performance leather footwear is actually pretty good. It's not the top, it's not the upper echelon, it's not in the same category as any of the Asics, Mizuno, or Adler products, but it is still very solid. So for that reason, performance rating is going to get a 7 out of 10. All right, overall for the Copa Icon. Now, this was a tough one for me because as much as I don't really like how plush and padded they are, you can't deny, number one, how comfortable they are, but number two, how robust and amazing the build quality is. Like, I just feel like there's nothing I could do to this boot, like flying into tackles or whatever, or get stepped on, that would hurt at all because they are so solidly built. And Adidas has done a really nice job kind of layering all the materials of the upper to really make it feel like you are wearing a pair of absolute units. And while also kind of taking a little bit of weight off from the lightweight sole plate that's also really responsive. So you get this kind of really interesting old-timer plush padded feel with some of the modern niceties like the suede and the heel liner, a nice and plush tongue area, plus the sole plate. So it's kind of a mixed bag for me. I'm gonna rate it overall as a 7 out of 10, which is pretty good for a boot like this. Usually I don't really like wearing boots like this, but I found these, especially if you go watch the play test, I found these boots to be like pretty surprising how much I enjoyed playing in them, despite not liking a super thick upper. So these, I'm not sure if I will be keeping these. Stay tuned for that. I will definitely keep wearing them a little bit here and there, or a pair of Copa Icon. I might actually try and get a different color because as much as I like the black and white, I think I might like something a little more fun and fresh, but we will see. I don't even know if they make a different color. I need to check on that one. But anyway, 7 out of 10 for the overall for the Copa Icon. I think that's a very fair rating for something like this. And I honestly think Adidas did a really nice job with the Copa Icon. And in my opinion, I don't see why this is the Copa. I would say delete the Copa Pure, and I would say just use this as the Copa, because I think this provides what leather heads really want, and that's like a plush, nice leather touch on the ball. And then you've got the Copa Mundial, which obviously is a lot thinner of a leather upper, plus the really old sole plate and design and tongue and all that stuff, and you'd have a pretty good lineup, I think. I think this is a better boot than the Copa Pure, but that's just me. What are your thoughts? Leave them down in the comment section below. That's gonna be it for the video for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed that 1 month review of the Copa Icon. If you have any more questions that I haven't answered in either this video or the playtest or the unboxing, yes, go watch the other two as well before you start asking questions, because I put all this content out there for you guys in order to answer your questions. Let me know down in the comment section below. If you guys are also interested in the grip socks that I'm wearing in today's video, it is the WeFoot grip socks, which are of course my favorite. I love them. They have hooked us up with 20% off down in the description box below. So you can either click the link and it'll automatically apply to your cart, or if it doesn't, use code NOAH20 to get 20% off your order. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As always, be awesome, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.